Nobody can score 200 upon 200. If you score 200 upon 200, then definitely there would be, I always say there would be 2 to 4, 10 questions were directly. Okay, 1 or 2 questions were from current and 16 questions we have. Under Ministry of Finance, there are 6 departments. There are 6 departments. Department of Revenue, Department of Economic Affairs outside India is a wrong statement. Why wrong? There can be 10 reasons. Due to paucity of time, I will not give 10, I will give 2. Now this is an easy question. लगेगा लगने लगा है पर लगेगा नहीं. So it appears to be a tough one, but it is an easy question. Please settle down. Good afternoon. क्या हाल है जी? So there would be few questions. Nobody can score 200 upon 200. If you score 200 upon 200, then definitely UPSC will constitute a committee. No, this is not a matter of laugh. They will constitute a committee that how have you scored 200 upon 200? Because humanly it is not possible. Humanly it is, there was a question on Director General of Analytics and Risk Management. There was a question which we'll discuss, which I talked with so many IRS, few IRS officers. Some of them had this idea. So these questions cannot be expected from a civil service. So there would be, I always say there would be 2 to 4, 10 questions were directly. Okay, 1 or 2 questions were from current and 16 questions we have. 2 questions were some which they asked from hypothetical, we'll discuss. Okay, so every subject, nobody in the history of humankind has scored more 200 upon 200. Even 150 plus is like 0.00. Out of 4 lakh student, maybe 2 student, 5 student. So average out of 4 lakh, the cutoff is going 87.9. It means that 9,000, top 9,000 students scored 87.9 and above. Okay, so please understand this. There will be few questions which UPSC will ask, which will be from anywhere. But the point is how much you can score. Now let's start. Now this, thankfully, this is the first question. In most of the answer keys, I don't know. What is the response you have given for this question? Only 2. Most of the answers only 2 there hai na. Most of the answer keys, I knew that yesterday only, that most of the answer keys will give it only 2. We were also giving it only 2, but it is only 1. It is only 1, so I will give it is only 1. Why? Let's see. And so this was one of the toughest question in the entire question paper in Polity. Why? Because it was directly related to a fact. Either you know the fact or you don't know the fact. It was nothing conceptual. So Directorate of Enforcement of fugitive, this too I mentioned, Fugitive Economic Offenders Act, okay, many a times. And this is under Ministry of Finance. Everyone knows under Ministry of Finance there are 6 departments. There are 6 departments: Department of Revenue, Department of Economic Affairs, Department of Financial Services, Department of Public Enterprises, Department of Investment and Public Asset Management, and Department of Expenditure. All the 6 departments under Ministry of Finance are there because of a reason. All the public sector banks, who is the owner? Government is the majority stakeholder. So all such matters are dealt by Department of Financial Services. Then the public sector undertakings, you have Department of, now they have renamed it Disinvestment ke liye Investment and Public Asset Management, and there is a Department of Public Enterprises. In between there was some news that they are contemplating to merge. Then there is one generic department which prepares the budget, and this question has been asked in 90s, that which department prepares the budget. That is generic, all matters related to economics. It is Department of Economic Affairs. So one finance say Department of Financial Services, Investment and Public Asset Management, largely dealing with what you call disinvestment. Then you have Department of Public Enterprises, एक department which deals with economic matters. It is Department of Economic Affairs which prepares the budget. Then there are 2 most important departments, Department of Revenue and Department of Expenditure. So this Directorate of Enforcement, this has been reiterated time and again everywhere in all the literature available under the sky. That Directorate of Enforcement has nothing to do with Ministry of Home Affairs. Let me add more. In Faridabad, there was academy which has been shifted to some 60 kilometers from Bangalore. So I have gone there zillion times. The name of the academy is National Academy of Customs, Indirect Taxes and Narcotics. So IRS, Customs and Indirect Taxes officers go first. 80% of their life they are in GST. Out of rest 20% they are in customs or in narcotics. So Narcotics Control Bureau, largely not IPS officers, but IRS, Customs and Indirect officers, and you have the customs to have. So this ED comes under comes under Ministry of Finance, not under Ministry of Home Affairs. Sound reason. What is the reason behind that? Reason behind that, ED is dealing with Prevention of Money Laundering Act. ED is dealing with Fugitive Economic Offenders Act. Now you tell me who is better equipped with deal with investigation related to money laundering, investigation related to Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018, which was enacted when people took money and loan and all. Fugitive Economic Offenders Act. So this honestly, if you don't know, then no problem. You have to give, that is something which is a matter of concern. That is a matter of concern that ED comes under Ministry of Finance, because if you have been reading about ED, then every single day it is a commonsensical fact which is quite known that ED comes under Ministry of Finance, not under Ministry of Home Affairs. So chalo, we have eliminated one. Now we are dealt with these two, that whether this is correctly matched or not, because this is correct. Okay, we have. Just a second. This I have opened many a times. Okay. If we open the official website of Enforcement Directorate, so you will see which from where they have lifted the question. This page also I have shown in the class, in the last class when we do constitutional and statutory bodies. Directorate of Enforcement, these all laws come under enforcement. That this is the official website of ED. ये सारे laws ED के under. Which laws? Enforcement in Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Then this law, which I jokingly say, those people who have run away with money of our money from the banks, Fugitive Economic Offenders Act. Then you will go to the website of ED. Let's see history of ED. यही से question पूछा है, बता भी दिए थे. Okay. So they have asked the question from here that ED is a multidisciplinary organization. It was first formed as enforcement unit under Department of Economic Affairs. But बाद में, in 1957, this unit was renamed as Enforcement Directorate. In 1960, the administrative control of ED was transferred from Department of Economic Affairs to Department of Revenue. So don't you think that ED is in news? The least a humankind, not an aspirant, a humankind can do will visit the website of Enforcement Directorate. Have they asked from rocket science? ED is in news. Is it not commonsensical that you will once 30 seconds of your life, you will visit the website of Enforcement Directorate? So it comes under Ministry of Finance, not Ministry of Home Affairs. Now, although UPSC answer keys, there would be one or two answers. There is a difference between what you call truth and common sense. We try to navigate. Yesterday in few questions we had this option when we were having the marathon session that we know that next year UPSC may give a different answer. So either we wanted to go with the truth or with the answer, because sometimes they, some answers are debatable. Like last year answer annual financial statement article 112, instead of president it was written prime minister, and that has been taken as correct. So technically this statement is wrong. Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, DRI. Okay. अब थोड़ा सा इसका स्ट्रक्चर समझाएं कि when revenue intelligence, अब indirect taxes में primarily IRS, or we say IRS customs and indirect tax officers, they are primarily posted as three. One, 80% of their job they are working as GST officers. 18% of their job they are working as custom officers. Some of them go to NCB, Narcotics Control Bureau. So जो custom का जो intelligence है, गोगिया का सोना आ रहा है स्पेन से, okay, the gold of that will be held by DRI, Directorate of Revenue intelligence. GST mein if somebody is cheating, that will be held by DGGI, Director General of GST Intelligence. So GST की जो intelligence body है, that is called as DGGI. अब next year DGGI पूछेगा तो exam hall में नहीं सीखना है. Okay, so GST की intelligence body is Director General of GST Intelligence, and Custom Intelligence is Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. One of so Directorate of Revenue Intelligence enforces the provisions of Customs Act, and Directorate of Revenue, Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance. This is a correct match. अब आते हैं इस पे, which I know most of the answer keys will give 2 correct, but this is Directorate General of Systems and Data Management. Undoubtedly it comes under Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. थोड़ा time तो ज़्यादा नहीं है, फिर भी will try. There are direct taxes and indirect taxes. First classification. So first you will become IRS IT income tax, which is the direct tax, or IRS custom and central excise, CNC, the name of the service was. But now after the GST, there is no central excise and state excise. Pehle central excise used to be different, state excise used to be different. Now most of the indirect taxes have been merged. So service ka naam badal gaya. The name of the service changed from IRS custom and central excise to IRS customs and indirect taxes. And the board was also called as Central Board of Customs and Central Excise. Now the board is called as Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. So there is 2 board, Central Board of Direct Taxes, Income Tax, and Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. 2 board है जो top body है, उसके ऊपर ministry है. So this functions under Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, but they come under Department of Revenue. Only problem is कि you, for example, your college, Vision IAS, any place, you have an IT department. You have an IT department in Vision IAS. The job of IT department, any student not having an issue related to user ID password, any student forgot password, not able to retain password, or maybe sometime technical error happens, okay, which is beyond human control. So all these things are dealt by IT department. So actually, Directorate General of Systems and Data Management. This is basically a sort of IT department of GST. The department that keeps nabbing the officers and all, that is called Director General of Analytics and Risk Management. Okay, which is called DGARM. So Directorate General of Systems and Data Management, correct hai. Carrying out big data analytics to assist tax officers and nabbing. This is not the function of data management. This is just provides the IT services to GST. ये काम है Directorate of Analytics and Risk Management, DGARM. और ये, so this is correct and this is correct, but this is wrong. I'll show you DGARM website. इस question पे थोड़ा debate ज़्यादा हुई. I was made to convince that this is not DG Data Systems. You see here, this is the official website of Directorate General of Analytics and Risk Management. और second page देखिए, provide intelligence input and carry out big data analytics to assist tax officers for better policy formation and nabbing evaders. So UPSC has actually taken the big data analytics assist tax officer for better policy and so this is directly taken from the website of DGARM, not DGSDM. So the answer would be 1 only, not 2 only, which is this I will not emphasize on other questions, especially this questions. Most of the answer keys would say 1 only, but 2 only, but the correct answer is 1 only. You can go and search the website of Directorate General of Systems and Data Management very conveniently. Just go and open. You will find it is doing everything, but it is not directly helping to nab the tax. This very statement has been taken from Directorate General of Analytics and Risk Management. So I will only settle for 1 only. Baki to choice is yours, okay. So 1 only, that is a correct thing. Okay. Now this is a Lulu Punju question. This is an easy question. This, all of you are intelligent, most of you. You are mentally sound to answer this question. I have complete trust on you. So you know that, consider the following statement. Panchayat at intermediate level exists in, also you know it is clearly written over there in the constitution, those states having population up to 20 lakh. So in Sikkim and some states it is not there. So we will eliminate this. To be eligible to be a member of panchayat at intermediate level, a person should attain the age of 30 years. It is 21 years. अब इसमें लेकिन एक catch है, which I explained in the class. I am again saying, in all the books available for humankind on earth, it is clearly written that the minimum age, because it is written in part 9 of the constitution, that what is the qualification to become a member of panchayat, or a person shall be listen to me very, very carefully. A person shall be disqualified to be a member of panchayat if A, he is disqualified to be a member of state legislature. Those most of the students I see from class, if I have taken panchayat, I have said this shouting and it was heard till New Rajendra Nagar. Okay. So it is written in the constitution, a person shall be disqualified to be a member of panchayat if he is disqualified to be a member of state legislature. Yani if he cannot become a member of state legislature, he cannot become a member of panchayat. First. Second, other than, niche lekha exception, other than age, where the age would be 21 years. So for state legislative assembly, age is 25 years. For Lok Sabha, age is 25 years. For Raj Sabha, age is 30 years. And I have shouted this for president and vice president and governor, age is 35 years. And I have more shouted that there is only one law in the country where the age is 45 years. जो मैंने चीख कर बोला, इस बार क्वेश्चन पूछा कि आर्टिकल 45 मैं 10 बार बोला. There is only one exception. In Lokpal and Lokayukt Act, the age is 45 years. That is a unique. Why the age is 45 years? ऐसे नहीं, मन क्या 45 टाइप कर दिया. नहीं. They typed nahi. Because the eligibility to become the chairperson of Lokpal is either you should be a former judge of Supreme Court Chief Justice or a person of impeccable integrity for 25 years. So how can a person of 25 years have an impeccable integrity of 25 years? Matlab he started his integrity from day one. So at least to be having impeccable integrity of 25 years, you will start from 20 age. That is why commonsensically they have made it 45. One more point. Next thing. Two more things I will come, then I'll explain this comprehensively. Next important thing is that the state legislature can provide additional grounds of disqualification. Different state legislatures across the country, from Bihar Panchayati Raj Act to UP Panchayati Raj Act, from Rajasthan Panchayati Raj Act to Karnataka Panchayati Raj Act. Every state have passed their additional grounds of disqualification. Some states have said that if you have more than 2 biological child, you cannot contest election. Some states have said that at village level you need to have 10th pass or 8th pass, and intermediate level you need to be 12th pass. So some states have even provided that you need to have a pakka toilet at home. So different states have provided additional grounds of disqualification. Agar state chahe, states can provide additional grounds of disqualification. This was challenged in Supreme Court in Javed versus State of Haryana. Supreme Court said definitely the states can provide additional grounds of disqualification. Those states which have said that if you have more than 2 children, you will not be eligible to contest election, it was held valid by the Supreme Court in Javed versus State of Haryana. So state legislature can prescribe additional grounds of disqualification. Last thing which may not trouble you in mains or in some of you who are watching may appear next year, that the Constitution of India only stipulates minimum age to become member of panchayat, that is 21. The Constitution of India is absolutely silent on the chairperson of panchayat. So this question was a very tricky question, was asked by a friend of mine to me, which finally when you will go and check the laws, UP Municipality Act or 1916 or Municipal Corporation Act, you will see, I think it is section 43AA or AD something. So you will find that the minimum age to become chairperson in some state is 30. So the constitution categorically is silent. What is the minimum age to become the chairperson of panchayat? The whole world knows that the minimum age to become a member of panchayat is 21. 1. If the same question is asked that what is the minimum age to become chairperson of panchayat, constitution is silent. Chairperson of panchayat can be of 25 years or can be of 30 years depending upon the state legislature. Some states have made it 21 years while some states have made it 30 years, depend. Member ke liye constitution clearly stipulates in part 9 that the minimum age to become member would be 21 years, which is given over here as 30 years. So this statement is wrong, this statement is wrong, and this is a Lullupunju statement. The chief minister of a state constitutes commission to review the financial position of panchayat at intermediate level to make it. So such commission is constituted by the governor, not by the chief minister. You have state finance commission is constituted by the governor in part 9 of the constitution, and union finance commission is constituted by the president in article 280 of the constitution. So UPSC dares you that how many statements are not correct? You will go for D, all the statements are not correct. This question I will rate 2 upon 10. If you have even opened the chapter of panchayat, you will make this correct. That question was very tough, this is very easy. Okay. This is again a question directly from Lokpal and Lokayukt Act 2013. Okay, this is an easy, again a very easy question. Consider the following statements about Lokpal. The power of Lokpal applies to public servants of India but not to Indian public servant posted outside India. Dear students, the embassies are islands of foreign territories. Dear students, in United Kingdom, Ecuadorian embassy gives refuge to the WikiLeaks founder, and the local police waits outside for more than 2 years. If you commit an offense and an embassy, any country's embassy gives you refuge in New Delhi, the Delhi police will wait for you outside but cannot enter inside the embassy because embassies are islands of foreign territories. So Indian foreign service officers or SSC के through जो foreign services officers जो junior level पे secretariat service type में जाते हैं, they all work across the around the world. Now these people are you see the Lokpal and Lokayukt Act. You see the Lokpal and Lokayukt Act. This power of applies to public servant outside India. This will take time to open. Okay. Meanwhile, we will. Okay. So if you see here, so this is statement, the power of Lokpal applies to public servant of India but not to the Indian public servant posted outside India is a wrong statement. Why wrong? There can be 10 reasons. Due to paucity of time, I will not give 10, I will give 2. First important things, that Parliament under Article 245 has the power of extraterritorial legislation. So laws of Parliament may apply even outside the country. Second important thing, Lokpal covers group A, B, C, D officers and all India services officers. Indian foreign service officers are group A officers. So how can it exclude getting one? Third, how can the law allow you to be not corrupt inside the country, but you can be corrupt outside the country? Fourth, you are doing the duties on the behalf of Republic of India, and our embassies outside are islands of our territory technically. So you cannot exclude them from the jurisdiction of Lokpal. So even by common sense, you can say that the power of Lokpal applies to public servants of India, but not to the Indian public servant posted outside India is a wrong statement. I have said this repeatedly, believe me, other than 3-4 questions. Most of the questions, if you have been vigilant on that count, you will I have said this, you have to read the primary laws. Let me just show you one so that it will help you in your mains as well as in your future endeavors. Okay, so this is Lokpal and Lokayukt Act. Khul gaya? Okay. सबसे पहले section 2. I told you first section primarily you have the name of the act. Second is extent. Third, it shall apply to public servants in and outside India. So if you have opened the act also, it will be given in the first page that this will apply. वो तो open करना होगा, उसके लिए मैं क्या करूं? Okay. The chairperson or member shall not be a member of parliament, member of legislature of any state or union territory, and only the Chief Justice of India has to be chairperson. Basic fact from the act, from the visionized material from M. Lakshmi Kant, that a person who has been an eminent can also become, ऐसे भी कहेंगे, a member shall not be a person less than a chairperson or member. Member shall not be a member of parliament, and only Chief Justice of India has to be chairperson. A person of impeccable integrity of 25 years does not necessarily be a member of, who is a Chief Justice. I told you qualification to become a chairperson. ठीक है, Chief Justice, that is there, but also a person who has an impeccable integrity of 25 years. Some of you are looking like Mandarin, so to avoid that Mandarin, let me just close this and show you. Okay, if you have opened the act ever outside intellectual inertia, okay. So Lokpal shall consist of, a person shall be eligible, the chairperson or a member shall not be convicted, okay. Okay. As a member or law, and is a person shall be, provided that members fulfill, a person who is a Chief Justice of India or has been a judge of Supreme Court. चलो यहाँ से भी you got the right answer. आगे, or an eminent person having subclause B of subsection 3. Let's move down the line. Even if you subclause B of subsection 3. So this is subsection 3, this is subclause B. 25 years in special knowledge and expertise and impeccable integrity and outstanding ability of 25 years. So if you see here, I say we don't have time, otherwise I've showed you every alphabet from where they have taken the question. Honestly saying, I would have admitted over here that question would be tough. But I would say that if you have only studied with minimum diligence, at least polity questions, 16 में 10 questions were directly asked. So the chairperson of member shall not be a member. So this is also a wrong statement because it says only the Chief Justice. No, it is not necessary. Other person can also. The chairperson shall not be a person less than 45 years, which is a correct statement. So I will settle for option A3 only, a direct question from Lokpal and Lokayukt Act. Only thing is between the time, why you did not, some of you who have, I think most of you got this correct. Most of you, if you have not got this correct, there is only one reason why you have not got this correct. I'll tell you the reason also. Because you started studying late. So you constitutional and statutory bodies ke liye you did not get much time. So it was not about intelligence or understanding. It was about a factual miss which you will not able to cover because you started late. If you would have started early, then 100% you would have got this question right. क्योंकि आपने late शुरू किया तो fact से mind में fact muzzle up हो गया, इसीलिए आपने question गलत किया. Otherwise you will get this correct. So I'll settle for question number 58 A3 only. Okay. Consider the following. This is what you call B. You know that, na? This is B. B set. Okay. Consider the following statement with regard to parting power of the president. Epru Sudhakar Kehar Singh. It is written in. I can open the synopsis also. The president will have the power of limited judicial review. This I said. The president will have the power of limited judicial review. So the exercise of this power by the president can be subjected to Limited judicial review. This is given in the books also. This is a correct statement. President can exercise this power without the advice of central government, you know. The president exercises power only on the advice of Council of. So listen to me very carefully once and for all. From Article 1 to 395. Only Article 74 of the Constitution says that the president shall act on the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. Later on, by a constitution amendment, it was added that the president may ask the Council of Ministers to reconsider their decision, which becomes binding on him if he is sent for the second time. Isko chhodkar, Article 53, the executive power of the union shall be vested in the president. Article 77, all transactions of the government of India shall be taken in the name of president. Article 85, the president shall summon the houses of parliament. Article 123, president will promulgate ordinance. Article 338, the president will appoint the chairperson of National Commission for Scheduled Castes, A, Scheduled Tribe Commission, B, Backward Classes Commission. In Article 339, the president may constitute a tribal commission. Article 340, the president may constitute Backward Classes Commission. So wherever it is written that president will do this, it is linked to Article 74 of the Constitution, that the president shall act on the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. There are two articles, more articles worth mentioning. One is Article 75, that the president shall appoint the prime minister appoint the prime minister and other ministers on the advice of prime minister. And Article 78, which is the only article in the Constitution which says duties of prime minister. What is the duty of prime minister? That is given in Article 78 of the Constitution. You got this now? So duties of prime minister is given in so abhi se lekar pure entire constitution mein you have president will do this, president will do this. Article 72, president will exercise pardon. 123, president will what you call this thing promulgate ordinance. 108, president will call joint sitting. 85, president will call sessions of parliament. 372 339, tribal commission. 340, backward classes commission. Everywhere president will do that on the advice of Council of Ministers. Dr. Ambedkar ne Constituent Assembly mein kaha. Dr. Ambedkar said in the Constituent Assembly, we are running short of time, but just this forever, you etched in your mind, which I will not take much time and read. He said that the position of the president in India is that similar to the king in United Kingdom. So generally he is bound by the advice of Council of Ministers. Only in matters of discretion, which is not explicit but implied discretion. 27th May 1964, suddenly Nehruji died. So he has to appoint Gulzari Lal Nanda ji. So you have 10th 11th January 1966 midnight, Lal Bahadur Shastri ji died. So immediately Gulzari Lal Nanda ji was appointed as Prime Minister for a few days. Then Mrs. Gandhi took oath. So 1996 Lok Sabha election, nobody was having majority. So BJP was invited to form the government as the single largest party. So in these situations, President will act in discretion. Otherwise, he will act on the advice of Council of Ministers. Directly, you can read, this is given even in the basic, in Lakshmikant also it is given. You see the chapter of President or the debates of, so President occupies the same. So, the President can exercise the power, pardoning power only on the advice of Council of Ministers, and nodal ministry is Ministry of Home Affairs. So, this is a correct statement. This is a wrong statement. I will settle for question number 66, A1. Only, A1 only, and this was one of the easiest question. Okay. See, central government just next time. So the Constitution of India from Article 391 to 395 doesn't use the term central government. Either uses the term union or government of India. Laws frequently use the term central government, even in Lokpal and Lokayukt Act and many laws, Central Vigilance Commission Act, you will find them. So for you, you will use the term interchangeably because it is absolutely correct to use the term central government, but the Constitution usually dissuades from the using the term central government, use the term either government of India or uses the term Union of India. Okay. So we'll take questions, but after, otherwise we'll not be able, all the teachers are lined up, they will be doing. Okay. So consider the following statement: on dissolution of Lok Sabha, the speaker shall not vacate his house until immediately before the first meeting of the House of People after death, directly mentioned in the Constitution. Directly mentioned in the Constitution that the speaker acts as a chain between two Lok Sabha, so he will only demit office just before the first sitting, which I said in the class also repeatedly, according to the provisions of Constitution. So this is a correct statement. According to the provisions of Constitution, a member of Lok Sabha on being elected shall. So, Om Birla ji or any of the Lok Sabha speaker not necessarily give their membership of BJP or Congress or any other party. So, compulsory nahi hai. Because UPSC has used the term shall, it is not mandatory on the speaker in India to resign from the party when he gets elected as the speaker, which is a convention that is always followed in United Kingdom, which is the reason why UPSC asked the mains question, once a speaker, always a speaker, because Somnath Chatterjee ji, one of the greatest parliamentarians, he conducted his impartiality, his duties, and he did not what you call in a way, so he followed the duties of speaker. So, but you can give up the primary membership of the party on being elected as the speaker. But the term shall makes this statement as a wrong statement. Zaruri nahi hai ki speaker chunne ke baad आप अपनी पार्टी से इस्तीफा दें. अगर आपने दे दिया तब आप डिस्क्वालीफाई नहीं होंगे, पर देना जरूरी नहीं है. यूके में देना जरूरी है. इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी दैट यू विल गिव. The Speaker of Lok Sabha may be removed from his or her office by a resolution of Lok Sabha passed by majority of all the then members. This is one of my favorite statement, all the then members, and no resolution shall be moved at least 14 days notice. So you know that Article 67 of the Constitution for Vice President and similar articles for Speaker, Deputy Speaker and Deputy Chairman, you require effective majority by the then members, which I have said zillion times, by the then members. President ke liye, yeah, sorry, not president. President is 2/3 of the total membership of the House. Only difference is कि Vice President is the only constitutional authority for which you require two different majority in two different houses. वाइस प्रेसिडेंट एक सिंगल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बॉडी अथॉरिटी है जिनको हटाने के लिए यू रिक्वायर टू डिफरेंट मेजॉरिटी इन टू डिफरेंट हाउसेज. इन लोकसभा यू रिक्वायर सिंपल मेजॉरिटी, इन राज्यसभा यू रिक्वायर इफेक्टिव मेजॉरिटी. बट फॉर स्पीकर, डेप्यूटी स्पीकर एंड डेप्यूटी चेयरमैन यू ओनली रिक्वायर वन हाउस, दैट इज इफेक्टिव majority. The term effective majority is not mentioned by the then members of the house, which I have repeatedly said. So this statement is a correct statement, this statement is a correct statement, this statement is a wrong statement. 1 and 3 I will search and I will settle for C for Calcutta. 1 and 3. Question: if any question arises whether a member of the Lok Sabha has become subject to disqualification under the 10th schedule, we all know that the decision under the 10th schedule is taken by the Speaker. Kihoto Holahan versus Zakil Hu, and after that so many cases. Supreme Court has said that this decision will be, the Constitution of India and 10th schedule says that decision will be taken by Speaker, which the Supreme Court says decision is subject to judicial review. So any decision under the 10th schedule will be taken by the Speaker and is subject to judicial review. Adding something more, if the disqualification is of the Speaker, this question was also asked in Abhyas. Only difference was that they asked of the Speaker. Then the House will choose one member in that case. You can go and read the 10th schedule. Whenever schedules are important, I have told you, if you will read the primary source, all 10 questions would be correct. मैंने बताया था 10 बार बोला कि primary source you have to read, UPSC is asking. So if any member of parliament is subject to disqualification, decision will be taken by the Speaker, not by the President. Only in office of President, office of profit, decision will be taken by President on the advice of Election Commission of India, Article 103 of the Constitution, read with Article 102. So this is 10th schedule, decision will be taken by the Speaker. There is no mention of the word political party in the Constitution. The term political party was not mentioned in the Constitution. But the answer is was. Is mentioned in the Constitution. 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1985, 10th schedule में लिखा हुआ है political party. From Article 1 to Article 395, आर्टिकल 75 में 10th शेड्यूल के कुछ एलिमेंट्स हैं, आर्टिकल 164 में 10th शेड्यूल के कुछ एलिमेंट्स हैं, 75 एंड 164. बट इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन आर्टिकल्स इट वाज नॉट मेंशन्ड. It was only by 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1985 as amended by 91st Constitutional Amendment Act 2003 that the word political party can be found in the 10th schedule of the Constitution. And the most important article for political party is section 29 capital letter A of Representation of People Act 1951. That is the most important, but UPSC is asking that the term is not mentioned. No, it is mentioned, clearly mentioned in 10th schedule. So this statement is wrong and this statement is wrong, and you have to settle for na, that is D for Delhi. Neither one nor two, question number 68. Ye question you will be able to do if you will read the 10th schedule, and unable to do if you have only read any secondary source. Only way you will answer these questions if you have read the primary source. Abhi all the questions they are asking, you read the primary source. If you will not read the primary source, this also you will make mistake. Lokpal wala to chalo you will make correct. But usse pehle jo ek do questions aaye, you have to read the constitution and the laws. And honestly speaking, if it wo jo director general data system tha, wo aapne galat kiya hai to, then also you can become Napoleon, you will become emperor, because that was a next level question. Even in the answer key, most of the places they have given two correct, because analytics and risk management is a body that is placed in the corner and UPSC is lifting. So that is, otherwise you have to answer. So I'll settle for D. Okay. Now consider the following statement. In India, state governments have no power for making rules for grant of concession in respect of extraction of minor minerals. Why UPSC has asked this question, this I will show you. Let the paucity of time be. क्यों question पूछा UPSC ने, that is important. There is a Supreme Court judgment summaries, which I have said you in the class. Supreme Court judgment summaries. In Supreme Court judgment summaries, this is Center for Research and Planning, that is inside Supreme Court. 2 years, 3 years back, they have started Center for Research and Planning. They give all the summaries of important constitutional benches judgment. ये official website है Supreme Court की, sci.gov.in. खुद वो लोग, they themselves give you the synopsis of all the judgment. अब हम जाते हैं 2024 में. Only few 10 से 11 judgments which were delivered in 2024. Okay. So two important thing, one more they have covered this or not, SCST. Okay. One was related to this judgment which they have given, the state's power to regulate the industrial alcohol material resources of the community. Chalo, ye to, I was expecting a question from 39C, okay, which they have not asked this industrial alcohol. One more judgment which they may not have covered, just I want to check. Okay, it is, okay, so the point is mineral development. Okay, this judgment was delivered. The question was that whether the states, this was an important question, that whether they should require to pay the state. So ye only few judgments are covered in the summaries. गिन चुन के कुछ 30-40 होंगे, 11 नहीं, थोड़ा ज़्यादा इन्होंने बढ़ा दिया. अच्छा है, ऐसा नहीं. ठीक है, 40 है. So उसमें this judgment came last year. What is the power of state to regulate the mine and minerals? So ये current affairs में भी cover हुआ था. This was an, अच्छा, Mine and Mineral Development Act जो है, that is always in news. So whenever an law is in news, you should go through the same. I'll come back to this. So that is why they have asked this question, because the moment I saw this question, I related, because in current affairs I have I know this question. So in India, state governments have no power. No, state governments have the power for making rules for grant of concessions, and the central government has the power to notify minor minerals. So this is a correct statement. Question number 69, first statement is wrong, second is correct. So I'll settle for statement 1 is not correct and 2 is correct. So 69D. This was, abhi tak, first question was exceptionally tough. Next 5 questions, I will not call them average, they were easy, because they are predictable questions if you have read the constitution. This question I will say, this you may miss, this you may miss, so I will not rate this as an easy one. Okay. Now this is again an ultra easy question. With reference to Indian polity, consider the following. फिर वही काम किया. Article 13 clause 2 से question पूछा. Article 13 clause 2, that the state shall not make any law that will abridge fundamental rights. The term abridge mentioned in Article 13 clause 2, I told you, for me the most important article is Article 13 from Article 1 to 395 with one article which is the oxygen for judicial review. That is Article 13. And Article 13 we had 3-4 hours class only on Article 13 although we were running short of time. Okay, so 13 से ये question पूछा है. All of you know that an ordinance can amend the central law. All of you know that civil laws can be applied retrospectively. So an ordinance can also give effect from criminal laws cannot be applied retrospectively, no ex post facto law. Only an ordinance can abridge a fundamental right. What you cannot do directly, you cannot do indirectly. Doctrine of colorable legislation. If you and most importantly, the sanctity of fundamental rights. The clearly the अच्छा, अभी नहीं, उससे भी अच्छा. If you will read Article 13, I'll show you because this internet, I'll just show you. It will take 30 seconds. Why UPSC has asked this question? That whether the ordinance can violate fundamental right or not. Okay, so I have been reiterating, please read the constitution, please read the constitution. Since I meet so often, so you take me lightly. Okay, so let's see and then we will do. Okay, so Article 13 of the constitution कहता है, the state shall not make any law which takes away or abridges fundamental right. और नीचे कहता है, law also means ordinance. So they want you to read article. First clause 2 में कह रहा है, the state shall not make any law which abridges fundamental right. और law का मतलब ordinance भी है. So they have directly asked from, I am showing you, and this is not my, this is our constitution. This is the constitution of India, Article 393. This may be called as the Constitution of India. This is the most sanctified of all documents. So an ordinance can amend Central Act, correct. An ordinance can come into effect from back date, correct. An ordinance can abridge a fundamental right, no. Directly question asked from Article 13 clause 2 read with the explanation. So I will settle for 1 and 3, I will settle for C for Calcutta. Okay. Now this is two questions we had exhaustive debate. One is the question on Director General of Analytics and Risk Management and this. Because most of the answer keys are saying all three as correct. I have not seen the answer key. Honestly, I have not hardly one or two somebody put status something. Otherwise, I know that what they will, to what extent it will be given, I know. So most of the answer keys say this is all the three statements are correct. Listen to me carefully. Article 4 of the Constitution says that any law made under Article 2 and 3 shall not be deemed to be a constitution. So you don't require a constitution amend to create a state. But whenever you make a special provision for a state, then you need to make a constitutional. Article 4 of the Constitution says that any law made under Article 2 and 3 shall not be deemed to be a constitutional amendment. So when Jharkhand was carved by Bihar Reorganization Act 2000, on 15th November 2000, you don't need a constitution amendment. When Uttarakhand was carved by Uttar Pradesh Reorganization Act on 9th November 2000, you don't need a constitutional amendment. When Chhattisgarh was carved out of Madhya Pradesh Reorganization Act 2nd November 2000, you don't need a constitutional amendment. When Jammu Kashmir was bifurcated into two union territories 31st October 2019, you don't need a constitution amendment. When Andhra Pradesh was carved out, Telangana was carved out 1st June 2014, you don't need a constitution amendment. You don't need a constitution amendment to create a state, but you need a constitution amendment to give a special status to the state. Example, in Article 164 of the Constitution, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Jharkhand, these four states shall compulsorily have a minister for tribal welfare. आर्टिकल 164 सेज कि भारत के इन चार राज्यों में ट्राइबल वेलफेयर के लिए एक मिनिस्टर होना जरूरी है. दैट इज झारखंड, छत्तीसगढ़, उड़ीसा एंड मध्य प्रदेश. आर्टिकल 164 of the Constitution. So Jharkhand was carved out by simple majority, but you want to amend Article 164 so that compulsorily there will be a tribal minister in Jharkhand. For that you need a constitution amendment. To create Sikkim, you need to, Sikkim initially was an associate state and you have constitution amendment, Article 2A was deleted. There is a special provision for Sikkim, Article 371F. There is a special provision for Nagaland, Article 371A. There is a special provision for Mizoram, Article 371G, G for Goa. Getting my point? There is a special provision for Karnataka Bidar region. You know that 98th Constitutional Amendment Act, Article 371J, J for Jack, that is for Karnataka. So 371A Nagaland, 371F Sikkim, 371G Mizoram, 371J Karnataka, 371 Maharashtra and Gujarat. So when you have a special provision for a state, then you require a constitutional amendment. So you don't require a constitutional amendment to create Nagaland. You require a constitution. So 28th December 62. Nehruji, I'm directly quoting from the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act. Nehruji says that, so this statement, there is a dicey. There can be answer all three or two. So in one of the statement, that was Nehruji, 28th December 1962, I'm just quoting him. He says, a separate bill for the formation of the new state related to Article 3 is also being introduced. So he says two things. We are introducing a bill that will become 13th Constitutional Amendment Act, adding Article 371A, giving Nagaland a special status. But he says in that parliament on 20th December 1962, which official copy, a separate bill for the formation of new state related to Article 3 is also being introduced. So Nagaland was created by Nagaland, State of Nagaland Act. So Nagaland was not created by a because Nagaland was created and the reason was because of an agreement signed, so a special status was given to the state of Nagaland by a 13th Constitutional Amendment Act. But 13th Constitutional Amendment Act was limited to adding Article 371A. It was not related to State of Nagaland Act. So do bill pesh hue, one bill was to create Nagaland, other bill was to give special status. To give special status, you need a constitutional amendment. To create Nagaland, you don't need a constitutional amendment, and this is, I'm directly quote. So, going by that, first statement is absolutely correct. You have two national parks and Eta Fort, Arunachal Pradesh, Eta Nagar. Tripura also correct. This I checked in M. Lakshmikant also. This is given over there also, direct. But this was something which most likely you will not be able to remember because all the states being carved out, history is very, very complicated. Factually, you may not be able to. So initially a Part C state, it became a centrally administered territory with reorganization of states in 1956 and later attained the full status, full-fledged. I have said this in my expected topics video that there may be a question on State Reorganization Act. Why? You just go and watch. I have said Office of Governor, I have said State Reorganization Act. मैंने कहा था क्यों और reason भी दिया था. Many of the issues are today because of the state reorganize. So that is why they have asked, although this was a tough question because if I have not read that chapter, evolution of states, okay, then you will not be able to answer. And specifically related to one particular state, most likely it is not going to be an easy thing unless it is a prominent state which is in news, so you may be able to better answer, okay. But this is a correct statement. The state came into existence on the basis of a Constitutional Amendment Act. This statement is a double-edged statement. This is a correct as well as partially not correct. Why? Partially isliye correct because it undoubtedly the 13th Constitutional Amendment led to Nagaland. But at the same time, this was not created by a constitutional amendment but by an ordinary law. So you have both the things are there. So we will go for 1 and 3. So only 2, but this is a debatable question. But this is a, क्योंकि state बनाने के लिए you don't require a constitutional amendment. उस state को कुछ special फायदा देना है, then you require a constitutional amendment. So that faida, what is that faida? Anybody? That no law of parliament, since we have the constitution that is open, it will take 30 seconds. We'll just show you Article 371A कि भाई any law of parliament related to Naga customary practice will not apply to Nagaland unless the state legislative assembly by a resolution so decides. मतलब marriage is a subject in concurrent list. मतलब if parliament makes a law on marriage, it will not apply to Nagaland if it is coming in conflict with their custom, unless the legislative assembly of Nagaland by a resolution so decides. So the laws of parliament related to their customs will not apply to Nagaland unless they adopt. This was the special status that was given to the state of Nagaland. That is why India is called an example of asymmetric federalism. Okay, just 1 second. This is, we have, okay, this is, G is related to Mizoram, I told you. So if you see Article 371, it is for Maharashtra, and 371A is for Nagaland. It says that 371A, it says no act of parliament in respect of religious or social practices of Nagas customary law shall apply to the state of Nagaland. No law of parliament on these matters will apply to Nagaland unless the legislative assembly by a resolution so decides. So simple हिंदी में कोई भी पार्लियामेंट का ऐसा लॉ जो नागा संस्कृति और उनकी सभ्यता से रिलेटेड है वो तब तक नागालैंड पे अप्लाई नहीं करेगा जब तक वहां की स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली इस रेजोल्यूशन को इसको रेजोल्यूशन से अडॉप्ट ना करे. नो एक्ट ऑफ पार्लियामेंट रिलेटेड टू देयर कस्टम विल अप्लाई टू नागालैंड अनलेस द स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली बाय अ रेजोल्यूशन सो डिसाइड्स. नाउ डियर स्टूडेंट्स, हाउ यू विल रीड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन? यहाँ इट इज रिटन स्मॉल लेटर 6. So we will go down the line and search for 6. Article 371A was inserted by Constitution 13th Amendment Act 1962, serial number 2 in the bill. That bill which was introduced, it has come into effect from 1st December 1963. बहुत सारे citizenship amendments, so कई laws में लिखा रहता है, जैसे 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976 came into effect on 3rd January 1977. So in many laws it is written, भारतीय न्याय संहिता came into effect next year. Law में ही लिख देते हैं, this will come into effect on the date decided by central government. So they make it later. Okay. जैसे Citizenship Amendment Act 2004 January, in fact the bill was introduced in December, came into effect on 3rd December 2004. So there are examples to this. Okay. So this statement we will go for 1 and 3. Question number 82. Let's see. This is. अब ये discuss करना पड़े तो फिर तो. Okay. So with reference to India, consider the following. Which of the following are the constitutional bodies? We know article. ये बताइए कौन सा article? 263 Interstate Council. Zonal Council is in State Reorganization Act, so these are not only you have Interstate Council is a constitutional body, only one. This question UPSC has given for those who filled the form and gave 100, 200 हो गया, अभी कितना है? 100 rupees है, you spent on conveyance, you waited for 3 years, so make them happy. UPSC has asked this question. If you have not answered this question, then only thing is you are not prepared for UPSC. Only problem is there is no, you can do it next year, no problem. Earth is rotating at the same speed. Okay. Some say that it has reduced a bit by a dam, but I don't know how correct it is. With reference to consider the following, Interstate Council is a constitution. क्यों पूछा? ये जानना सबसे जरूरी है. क्यों पूछा? After so many years, bill I'll show you. ये क्लास में बताए, कुछ लोग सो रहे थे लेकिन कोई बात नहीं. Okay. So now dear student, that page is just a second. Last year current affairs. Okay. Last year current affairs में last year after many years, last year के current affairs में central government has constituted. देखिए, gazette notification dated 8 November 2024. So last year 1990 के बाद, after 1990, 2024 के नवंबर में interstate council was reconstituted. This was discussed in monthly current affairs. This was discussed in the class. This was mentioned in interstate council. आप reason देखिए why दे. अब though you asked me current affairs till what? जनवरी से और last year मई से. नवंबर तो November 2024, Interstate Council was reconstituted, and UPSC has asked a question on Interstate Council. Can we say that this question is from current affairs? So we will settle for question 83 only one. Okay. Now consider the Constitution of India. Again, I told you UPSC is in love with explicit and implicit. Explicit and some places they say we will say 2 plus 2 is 4, FOUR 4 or Roman 4. They will say okay. So just joking, but there are few questions only that are debatable. Okay, the Constitution of India explicitly mentioned that in certain sphere the governor of the state acts in his own discretion. Every single class, when we have done precedent, we have compared it with the power of the governor. Always whenever I do Article 74 of the Constitution, usi waqt khulta hai Article 163 of the Constitution, that there is a explicit discretion of governor mentioned in the Constitution, but there is no discretion mentioned of the president. So yes, this was a statement from Article 163 of the Constitution, that the Constitution of India mentioned that certain spheres governor acts in his own discretion. Since we have time, I'll show you. So in Article 74 of the Constitution, the discretion of what you call is not mentioned. In Article 74 of the Constitution, the discretion of president is not mentioned. But in Article 163 of the Constitution, directly the discretion of, you'll see here, Article 163. There shall be a chief minister, council of ministers with chief minister at the head to aid and advise the governor in exercise of his function, except insofar as he is under the Constitution required to act in discretion. So the discretion of the governor is explicitly mentioned in the Constitution, but the discretion of president in Article 74 is not mentioned. So this is a correct statement. Okay, so the president, the Constitution of India explicitly mentioned certain spheres governor acts in discretion. Sahi. The President of India can reserve a bill passed by a state legislature for his consideration without being forwarded by the governor. No, this will directly dismantle federalism in India. And Dr. Ambedkar said in the Constituent Assembly that in the executive and the legislative state, both of them function within their own domain. So the state derives its power from the Constitution. So this is a wrong statement. Question number 84. One only is the correct, one only is the correct statement. Constitution of India mentioned that certain spheres, it is from Article 163 of the Constitution. Now this is again, ye discuss karna ek separation of judiciary from executive in the public services of the state. If Article 50, valuing and preserving the rich heritage of our composite culture, fundamental duties. Article 24 of the Constitution, no child below the age of 14 years shall be allowed to work in a factory, mine or hazardous employment. So this is a fundamental right. So all three statements are correctly matched. We will settle for C for Calcutta. That is all the three, and I'm sure the face says it all. Okay, all of you have got it correct. Okay, now this is an easy question. Lagega lagne laga hai, par lagega nahi. So it appears to be a tough one, but it is an easy question. I told you when the question appears to be too tough, it is like asking you that do you have the audacity to go against the gravity and lift on your palm something called H2O and bring it to your lips. Okay, so drink water, which UPSC will not say, can you drink this water? No. They will ask it because in the examination hall, they know that you have only 120 minutes. So of course, they will play with you or me. The exam is not about intelligence or factual understanding also. Koi bhi. Exam is about testing your patience, because you will be bestowed with vast power. So they will check your patience. So they ask these questions to check whether in the examination hall you have that patience or not. Otherwise, honestly speaking, this was a very, very easy question from schedule. This is similar to the question asked on 10th October 2021 prelims. What is the definition of state? If you have read scheduled areas, you will be able to answer. Okay. So with reference to the constitution, but they will frame it very officially with reference to the concept. पहले ही देख के ही वो constitution तो पढ़े ही नहीं है. Okay. So with reference to the Constitution of India. So you need to be very, very patient because they will check your patience inside the examination hall. Okay. With reference to the Constitution of India, if an area is in a state is declared as a scheduled area under the 5th schedule, the state government loses its executive power. Okay. 10 states in India are under scheduled area. Let me give some example. Jharkhand, Gujarat. So the DM is appointed by center or transfer posting is done by the state. How can the state lose its executive? Only there will be a tribal advisory council to advise the governor on betterment of those parts. So the state does not lose its executive power. Union government can take over. जैसे ही UPSC ने exclusionary statement दिया, most likely it is going to be wrong. Administration नहीं, total administration. स्टूडेंट यूनियन जैसे बोलते हैं सर ब्लैकआउट नहीं होगा, टोटल ब्लैकआउट होगा. पावर करप्ट्स एंड एब्सोल्यूट पावर करप्ट्स, सो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन नहीं, टोटल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. सो इट इज द वेरी वर्ड टोटल was enough to eliminate this statement that in union government can take over total administration of such area under circumstances on the recommendation of the governor. If that is the case, then in 10 states we have scheduled areas. The honorable governor can make a recommendation and the central will directly rule these 10 few areas in those 10 states. They are trying to confuse you between Article 356 of the Constitution and Article 352 some parts, and schedule area में the central will not take total. कहाँ क्या क्या है भाई? Article 339 clause 1 and clause 2. एक में the central president will constitute a tribal commission, or the union, the executive power of the union shall extend to giving directions to the state to draw up and execute schemes for the welfare of scheduled tribe. फिर से कह रहा हूँ, ये सेंटर का एग्जीक्यूटिव पावर है आर्टिकल 339 में कि वो स्टेट को डायरेक्शन दे सकता है कि वो स्कीम बनाएं और उनको इम्प्लीमेंट करें जिनसे शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब का वेलफेयर हो. So the executive power of the union extends to giving directions to the state to draw up and execute schemes for the welfare of scheduled tribes. So this is a power. Under 5th schedule, there is no way where the center will take over total administration. This was a very easy question, but I am also pained to see that some students have actually got it wrong, not because they are not academically equipped to deal with this question, because the language of the question was such where they were trying to trap you by giving you a statement. Otherwise, both the statements cannot be said as wrong, can be said as brutally wrong. Okay, so I will settle for D for Delhi. That is neither 1 and 2. Scheduled areas का concept समझिए. आंसर देना मकसद नहीं है. शेड्यूल एरिया कुछ फर्स्ट तो नेवर गेट कंफ्यूज बिटवीन 5th एंड 6th शेड्यूल. 6th शेड्यूल क्या है? 6th शेड्यूल इज इन असम, मेघालय, त्रिपुरा एंड मिजोरम. ये कोई कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, ये पूछ सकता है, पर दिस इज नॉट इम्पोर्टेंट. व्हाट इज इम्पोर्टेंट, इन नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न पार्ट some districts have been declared as autonomous district. So there is an elected body. This is the last level of decentralization in Indian Constitution. For your understanding sense, I will say Panchayat, 5th schedule Panchayat and Autonomous District Council. So Panchayats ko, for example, they have 5/10 power. Decentralization mein they have 5/10. Panchayats in scheduled areas, they have 7.5/10. Autonomous District Councils have 120/10. Matlab, all the powers are with auto. So never get confused between 5th schedule and 6th schedule. There are 10 states of India, there are scheduled areas. Only responsibility of governor is that in these areas there are better allocation of funds, and tribal advisory council will advise and present a report to the president. Last year also pucha tha. And most importantly, see that Panchayat Extension to Scheduled Areas Act, the panchayats of these scheduled areas will be more powerful than their nearby panchayat which are not coming under scheduled area, because their power is given directly by the parliament, Panchayat Extension to Scheduled Areas Act, but the nearby power of panchayat, Article 243A or 243B, will be decided by the state legislature. So panchayat two type ho gaye. एक पंचायत which is having a state legislature will decide their power. ग्राम सभा का power क्या होगा? State Article 243G, G for Goa, that is the most important article. State legislature will decide the power of पंचायत. एक की parliament has already said कि नहीं भाई, state legislature has to give these powers to the panchayats in scheduled areas. So दोनों जगह पंचायत है, but scheduled areas panchayat power is given by the parliament. Normal other parts of the country, the panchayat power is given by the by the state legislature. So panchayats in scheduled areas are protected by the center and they will have more powers than panchayat in other areas. But leave panchayat, there is an autonomous district council in 6th schedule. Wahan to panchayat ki it is grandfather of panchayat. They will have all the powers, they are called autonomous district. Most of the matters power is with them. So who is more powerful, panchayats in scheduled areas or autonomous district council? हाँ, ये लिखा हुआ है Panchayats in Scheduled Areas Act 1996 में last में. As far as possible, try to follow the pattern of 6th schedule. लिख दिया act में. कोशिश कीजिए कि 5th schedule, scheduled areas panchayat also have the powers of 6th. But 6th and 5th schedule you have panchayat and tribal advisory council. Their role is to advise the governor for development. But in 6th schedule you don't have tribal advisory council. You have autonomous district. People will vote and they will choose autonomous district council from dispensary to school, from road to land revenue, from civil justice to criminal justice on many matters, from dispensary, from so many aspects they have power. So India के constitution में अगर last level है, उससे ज़्यादा decentralization नहीं हुआ है, that is autonomous district council. Those districts, 10 in India, 3 in Assam, 3 in Mizoram, 3 in Meghalaya and 1 in Tripura. 10 autonomous district councils हैं. Those districts have been declared autonomous. Elected bodies हैं वहाँ. They are called autonomous district council. Almost all the powers are with them. That is the last level of democratic descent. There are more autonomous councils like 3 in Manipur, Leh and Kargil council, but they are not created by constitution. They are created by an act of legislature. There is also a mention Gorkha Territorial Administration GTA, and there is a mention in part 9 Darjeeling Hill Council. Now it is Gorkha Territorial, but that derive its power from the state of West Bengal as legislature. These 10 autonomous districts have autonomous district council. So 5th schedule or 6th schedule में सबसे पहले, in the 5th schedule, executive power of the state extends, but the state government does not lose any such power and center cannot take total administration. So I will set up for D for Delhi. You will be able to do this question comfortably if you have done your 5th and 6th schedule अच्छे से, then only you will be able to do. Let's wrap up. Now this was a question which was a factual one. Okay, so a National Automotive Board, you have Ministry of Heavy Industries. Then you have a Square Board, you have Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium, and National Center for Trade Information. Trade की information देगा Ministry of Commerce. So all three are कितना चालाकी किया है? They have given and all three are wrong. So answer would be D for Delhi. Okay, we have a few more questions. Consider the following statement subject to under the Constitution of India. Again, this question is, I told you this question is an important question. Why? This question requires you to read Article 154, 156 and Article 368 of the Constitution. देखिए अभी तक कितने question आ गए which are directly from the Constitution, not from the secondary book. This entire year I have showed you Constitution. अब इस Constitution में clearly लिखा हुआ है Article 368 of the Constitution that which all constitutional amendments, ये कौन सा constitutional amendment है, which all constitutional amendment requires ratification by half of the states. ठीक है? So if you amend the 7th schedule, then you need to amend. जैसे education, forest, wildlife, all these things were shifted from state list to concurrent list. Then you 42nd amendment, then you require ratification by half of the. So if you touch the 7th schedule, you have to get it ratified by half of the states. Executive power of the state, it is something which is very, very important. Arey bhai, executive power of the appointing, transferring DM and SP. So if you are making such executive power of the state is one of the most important power of the state. So if the central will take all such power, what is the point of having a state? So if you will amend the constitution to amend the executive power of the state, then you require it to be ratified by half of the state. कहता है conditions of governor's office. Conditions of governor office, his regulations, salary, allowances determined by the parliament. It does not require ratification by half of the state. अब बताते हैं. 368 is the amendment. So 1 and 2 is correct. तो चलो easy है. A88, A1 and 2. But what is important is your reading of Article 368. एक बार भी गलती से against the gravity, इच्छा के अपने दिल को मारकर, if you would have read Article 368, then you would be, you are happy, I know, but you would be more happy. Now read Article 368 of the Constitution. क्या कहता है? कवि इस पंक्ति में कह रहा है, सुनिए, that if an amendment that seeks to make change any of the list in 7 schedule representation of states in parliament, okay, then the amendment shall be required to be ratified by half of the states. One more article I'll show you, then you will be in a better position. Okay. अच्छा, ये आप आइएगा आर्टिकल 162 से इसको लिंक किया है और 241 से लिंक किया और आर्टिकल 73 से. ओके, सो 162 में क्या है, लेट्स सी. अगर इफ यू वांट टू चेंज 162 देन यू हैव टू गेट इट रैटिफाइड बाय हाफ ऑफ द स्टेट. सो लेट्स सी, अभी आपको जवाब और अच्छे से मिलेगा. 162 दोनों आर्टिकल साथ में ही है. ओके, लेट्स सी 162 क्या है भाई. पूछा ना यही कि विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट रिक्वायर्स, कौन से ऐसे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट है जिसके लिए आधे स्टेट की अनुमति सहमति जरूरी है. इट इज रिटन इन आर्टिकल 368 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, एनीथिंग दैट यू मेक इन 7 शेड्यूल और एनी चेंज दैट यू मेक इन 162. 162 इज एग्जीक्यूटिव पावर ऑफ द स्टेट. यही लिखा हुआ है ना स्टेटमेंट में, executive power of the state. Now you see article 154 and 156, term of office of governor. चलिए इसमें तो थोड़ा condition, 154 most important. You see it says that the exercise by him to prevent the legislature from conferring any such, so parliament can confer any such power subject to the foregoing provisions. बहुत सारे ऐसे power parliament को दिए. This will not be interfering with the what you call this thing. So the conditions of the office of governor, किस कंडीशन पे गवर्नर वर्क करेंगे, दिस विल नॉट डिसमेंटल द फेडरलिज्म. इससे बहुत ज्यादा फेडरलिज्म पे फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. दैट इज वाई. और भी इसमें बहुत सारे प्रोविजंस है, जैसे देयर वाज नो कंसेप्ट ऑफ यूनियन टेरिटरी. देयर वाज नो कंसेप्ट ऑफ यूनियन टेरिटरी इन द ओरिजिनल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. द वेरी term union territory was inserted by 7th Constitutional Amendment Act 1956. Then they have amended Article 239 of the Constitution, and the president shall appoint the administrator with whatever, and the governor of a state can be appointed as administrator of an adjoining union territory, and in that matter he will act independently of his council of ministers. So all these matters, or you were regulating the condition, you don't require the what you call approval of half of the state. Now let's go back to our question. In our question it says, which of the, for a constitutional amendment with respect to which of the above ratification of legislature of not less than 1/2 is required. So 1 and 2 but not 3. So answer would be A for apple, that is 1 and 2. Next is again governor. Why? Because when the questions were being framed, जब question बन रहा था उसी वक्त the judgment came on the it is presumed, and throughout the year governor was in. With reference to Indian polity, consider the governor is not answerable to any court for the exercise and performance of powers and duties. Directly Article 361 clause 1 of the Constitution, सीधा लिखा हुआ है, word by word same है. Article 361. No criminal proceeding shall be instituted during his term. Some allegations were leveled. We don't know whether they are correct or not. Just that they were leveled against one of the sitting governor. No criminal case can be filed against the governor during his term. No arrest can be made against the president or governor during. Civil case can be filed in personal capacity, but after giving 2 months prior notice. So members of state legislature are not liable to any proceeding in respect of anything said within the house. One of the most basic article, Article 105, anything said on the floor of the parliament shall not be called into question in any court. Article 194, anything said on the state legislature shall not be called into question in any court. So again, all the 3 statements are from the Constitution. अब बताइए, इतने दिन से बोल रहे हैं सेकेंडरी सोर्स मत पढ़िए, मतलब पढ़िए, पर आफ्टर यू हैव रेड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, आई विल शो यू वन आर्टिकल बिकॉज इट हैज बिकम एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर हियर आवर कॉन्वर्सेशन. 338 है, just 1 or 2. Okay, if we see here, now let's see Article 361 of the Constitution. Article 361, the president or the governor shall not be answerable to any court for exercise and performance of powers and duties. First statement is directly taken from 361 clause 1. आगे, provided that no criminal proceeding shall be instituted against the present in any court during the term of office. Or third statement is taken, that also I'll show you. Okay. Just a second, we have only few. Okay, let's see. No member of state legislature shall be liable to any proceeding in any court with respect to anything said or any vote given by him in legislature or committee. Article 194 clause 2 of the Constitution. Let's see this. The governor shall not be answerable to any court. Article 361. No criminal proceeding shall be instituted. Article 361. No member of state legislature is liable to proceeding in any court, anything said within the house. Article 194. All the three statements are correct. We will settle for D for Delhi. All three directly lifted from the. किसी ने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन खोला है और सारे एक एक करके सारे क्वेश्चन ड्राफ्ट कर दिए प्रीलिम्स 2025 experience share. Okay, now this we are running short of time. Okay, I was although I have completed, I'm having 5 minutes. So key takeaways from the question: 1, that if the question is tough, it is tough for everyone. If the question is easy, it is easy for everyone. Only one advice I will give: don't race against time. All of you studied, but I see in the class, I see at GTB Nagar, I see everywhere, I can say with the face that the person has started from January. Only problem is you started too late, or the usse bhi badi problem hai कि now you think that there is ample of time. Okay, so mains, those who are writing mains, please understand few vital points. Those who are having a doubt that whether you will qualify prelims or not, no student has ever what you call suffered from fit or any such thing by studying. ऐसा नहीं कि अगर पढ़ लिया गलती से तो बेहोश हो जाएगा, ठीक है? So those students, 3 kind of students are there. 4 kind. One who will be taking prelims next year. For them, I would say you don't have time. You don't have time. You will feel that you have time. लगेगा लगने लगा पर you don't have time. First category, those who are taking prelims next year, you don't have time. Those January say for last 8-9 years, specifically for last 5 years, January say everybody starts studying, but the butcher, the assassinator, the gladiator, the predator, the hawk, he has studied from June to December. He will chill around in January. So you may chill unless you freeze. Okay. So first, those who are appearing for 2026, they are sitting in the class, use time judiciously. Second, those who are dicey that whether they will qualify or not. Please let me say you will qualify, because the cutoff, we are getting more data, it will be revealed in time, because I don't want to make a blank statement. But most likely, if those students who are on the border, they usually qualify, which I have seen. But by the time they qualify, they waste their 20 days. So after 5-6 days, please start studying. So second category of student. Third category of students who couldn't make it because they feel that they are getting 40-45, ऐसे तो नहीं होंगे, 60-70 वाले होंगे, 75 वाले होंगे, 75 to 85. Don't worry, there are zillions or there are less stars in the sky than the number of stories where students have qualified in their 4th or 5th attempt and they have got single digit rank. Imagine a person, a person who scores, although it will not happen to you, just the last hypothetical situation. Qualifying prelims in 5th attempt and getting single digit or double digit rank. For last 4 years, the entire mohalla kept saying, "Iska to prelims hi nahi." And then they will say, "Bachpan se hum jante the." Okay, since childhood I know. So third category, those who have not, this is, believe me, ab jo main bol raha hu, one of the most serious non-academic statement. That those who have not qualified, those who feel that they are not getting close, not saying to encourage you, just fact. जाके 1 किलो बालूशाही बांटिए, खुश मनाइए and start studying. So many people I know. There's a friend of mine, he has come to Delhi today only. He couldn't qualify prelims. Within a week, he went to Murthal and all, chilled and started studying. Next year, he was at services. So it is nothing matters that what is your past. Every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. So third category. Fourth, who are sure that they are going to qualify.
5. All 4 have, so they must start studying after the class, chill for a day or two and start. So those who are dicey and those who are sure, they must start, and others should also work on a comprehensive plan for 2026. More gyan I will not give. You are already bombarded with so much information. Inform less people that you are preparing for civil services. Thank you.